Okay, so, hi. Um, I just read the book After, okay, and I have a lot of thoughts about it, and I just really need to get it out somewhere, and I don't know who else I can talk to about it, because no one that I know in real life has read this book, and I've Snapchatted my friends a couple of times about it, and I'm sure they're really annoyed about it. So I'm just going to make this video. So, the book After is very interesting, to say the least. It has a lot of questionable and problematic elements in it. And yeah, I think overall it actually is very problematic, and that's not an unpopular opinion, because a lot of videos on YouTube are about the fact that this book is problematic. And now there's a movie about it, and I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. But it's just very, I don't know. It's a very hot topic right now to talk about this. And I read the book, so I want to talk about it. So, first things first, I want to talk about is, well, there's a lot of things. So, I'm going to start with bullet points. Okay, so first thing first, I want to talk about is Tessa's character. Tessa's character is very annoying. Like, she is very childish. Very, very childish. And I know that she's only 18. I can't really hold that against her, but, like, I don't know. It's just... And the fact is that I don't like the fact that she is written like, oh, I'm not like other girls. I don't wear makeup. I dress conservatively. I'm a virgin. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't party. I'm just very goody two-shoes, you know? It's just very... It's so stereotypical and it's so overdone, and I'm just over that trope. Like, I'm not saying sometimes it doesn't work, obviously, because, for example, a good example I can think of that does this right is the show on Netflix called Elite. It's a really amazing show. Anyways, there's this character called Nadia, and she's very studious, you know, very pure, innocent, you know, just everything like that. But in that show, it's done right, and she's not annoying. You know, like, she actually feels like a real person, and she's not, like, obnoxious. But that's a whole nother thing. But in this book, they just make Tessa so unlikable from the start, I think. And that's really a shame, because I feel like if they just wrote her better, I don't know why I'm saying they, Anna Todd is the author. If she just wrote her differently, like, it could have been so much better. Don't get me wrong, there were some things that I really did like about her, like about the fact that she was always willing to, like, stand up for herself, and whether it was to Hardin or to her mom or something, and that was pretty admirable for her. And I thought that was a good, like, character development moment. I mean, there wasn't a lot for her, obviously, because, I mean, she didn't really have any character development outside of her relationship with Hardin, but I'll get into that. Yeah, so, I don't know. There were some good things about her. Like, she wasn't all terrible. But, yeah, I don't know. She was just kind of a bland character outside of her relationship with Hardin. Like, I don't know. And I don't know. She did a lot of stupid things and a lot of really messed up things. And she never got questioned for it. She never got, there was never any, like, repercussions for the things that she did, which was like, I don't know, it was kind of unrealistic. And I don't know, I just feel like Anna Todd tried to make her like too perfect of a character when she's really not. Like, she's a very flawed character. And that's not a bad thing because a lot of great characters are very flawed. The best characters are very flawed. But I don't know. I just feel like she could have been written so much better. Like, I feel like maybe if Anna Todd made a book like about her life before she went to college and before she met Hardin, and just like explained like everything going on, like besides a little bit that we know about her, like, does she have any other friends besides Noah? Like, is she a good person? Like, is she in any clubs? Is she charitable? Does she play sports? Like, I don't know. Does she do anything good for her community? You know? Like, it's like not enough that she's just a good student and she's a goody two shoes and doesn't drink and doesn't smoke and dresses conservatively and doesn't like tattoos and whatever. Like, I don't care about that, you know? Like, is she a good person? Like is she nice to people? Like, is she involved with her community? Does she give back? Is she charitable? Does she do anything good for other people, you know? Like, is she a good person? And I don't know. So and from this book, I can kind of conclude that she's not really a good person, but then again, I don't know what she was like before. And I think that's the whole point, because we don't really know what she was like before, because it seems like she was just putting on this act for her mom, and like trying to like live up to her mom's like very high expectations of her, which is understandable, I guess. But it's like, and then it goes from like her being this very conservative, like goody two shoes, nice girl, like academic, like just very focused girl on everything, and then it switches up because she gets with Hardin, and then she's just like rebellious and doesn't care and does whatever the hell she wants. And it's like, who is she really? Like, is she just like that because of Hardin? Or is that something that she's always had to deal with, but she just didn't know, like, until she was on her own or something? I don't know. But, I don't know. That would have just been interesting to see. The next person I want to talk about is Hardin, obviously. He's the main love interest, of course. I don't know. Hardin was just a very... I don't even know how to describe Hardin. He was so problematic. And I don't know. I feel like the explanation that Anna Todd gave him for why he's such an asshole was not good. Like, I don't know. Like, the only thing I really got from that is that he is mad at his dad because he was an alcoholic and neglected him or whatever. and like divorce his mom or whatever. And it's like, okay, like that shit happens all the time, and people don't turn into like raging, violent assholes, you know? I just thought it was very weak. Oh, and another fact that his mom got raped by a bunch of guys and he witnessed it. Like, okay, that is very traumatic. I will give you that. All right, but I don't know. I just feel like it was very weak, and I don't know. It didn't explain anything. Like, he was just an asshole to be an asshole, or he was a sociopath. There's one or the other, you know? And who even knows? And I don't know. I just feel like maybe if the book was written from his perspective, it would have been different. But because the book was written from Tessa's perspective, he is not given a very... He was not written in the best light, okay? So, I don't know. I just feel like they could have expanded on both of their separate characters more and explained why they were the way they were. And, yeah, I don't know. And them together, it's just bad. Like, I don't know. It's like, at first I kind of started to feel sorry for Tessa because Hardin was being such an asshole to her and was so hot and cold. And I was like, oh, that's really sucks. Like, I wish he would just like choose, you know, and like just be nice to her, you know. But then I'm just like, if this relationship was in real life, like if this book was real, you know, and I saw someone like that in real life, like if it was my friend and her boyfriend was like that, oh my god, like that would be the worst thing ever. Like that would be so toxic and so abusive. And it is toxic and abusive in this book. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say that it's not, because it is. And anyone who is smart and has a brain and is an adult and can recognize these signs will know. But maybe most people who read this book are like, I don't know, 13, so they don't know. But I don't know. It's just very, it's rough. And after a while, it was like they would fight, and then they would make up, and then they would fight again, and then they would make up. And then he would say that he didn't care about her, and then he would say that he loved her. And then she was like, oh, I hate Hardin. And then she was like, I love Hardin. And it's like, make up your mind. Like, do you love each other or not? Like, choose one or the other. Like, this is so ridiculous. Like, it's so unhealthy. Like, oh, God, I would never want a relationship like that. Like, it was exhausting just reading it. Like, I was exhausted reading this, and I was like, oh, God, I can't imagine actually living this way. It would be the worst thing ever. And what's sad is that Tessa doesn't even realize that Hardin is being verbally abusive to her and manipulating her. It's really sad. Like, she doesn't realize it until the end when they reveal the whole thing was a dare, which, oh god, that's another thing, but I'll talk about that later. And yeah, so it was just not good. And another thing is that I don't understand why they were together. Like, I don't understand what the appeal was But okay, maybe from Harden it was different because it was a dare to him. But what is the appeal to Tessa, like, about Harden? You know? Like, why does she like him? Because he's hot? Because he has a lip ring? Because he has tattoos? Like, is that it? Like, because from the little that we've seen before they even, like, start, like, messing around, like, he's just an asshole to her. Like, he's a straight up asshole to her all the time. Like, I don't even understand. And it's not even like he has any good qualities. Like, I guess sometimes, like, if, like, she starts crying, he'll be like, are you okay, or something? Or, like, if she, like, when she cut her hand, he was like, oh, are you okay? Like, do you need a Band-Aid? Like, great, thanks, Arden. Like, I don't know. But those moments were so far in between that, like, it was so weird. Like, I don't understand. Why do you like him? Like, I'm pretty convinced that the only reason why she put up with his shit for so long is because they were doing sexual things. Like, and she had never done that before with Noah or anything. And that's pretty much it. That's what I'm convinced, that she liked him. And that is not a good relation. That's not a good reason to be in a relationship with someone. Like, no, girl, that is not healthy. And yeah, I just don't even know. And the fact that she would say, oh, I hate you, stay away from me, I need to stay away from you, you're no good for me. And literally throughout, like, half of this book, she goes, every time around you I just end up crying. Okay, so why do you keep coming back? Like, why do you keep coming back and being around him and talking to him and, like, getting yourself into it again if you know that he's just gonna make you upset enough to cry? Like, literally, I think she cried like 20 times or something from this book. I'm just like, girl, why do you want to be with this dude? If he makes you so upset that every time you talk to him you cry, like, what the fuck is that? That is the most unhealthy shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, is that supposed to be cute? Is that supposed to be romantic? Is that supposed to be like, oh, like, he's a bad boy? Like, no. No, that is not okay. That's not okay. And she just lets it happen to her multiple times. She'll be like, oh, well, he was sweet yesterday, but now he's being rude again. Now he's being mean and he's hurting my feelings. And I need to stay away from him. But then he'll say one nice thing to her, and then she's like, oh, I love him. Girl, what? Excuse me? Like, it's just kind of sad. Like, I just feel like Tessa has no self-respect for herself. Like, because if she did, then you would fucking know. Because she would not keep going back to him. And it's like, maybe she does gain a little bit of self-respect later on, because she does start to stick up for herself and, like, fight back with him and stuff. But it's like, you still let him do all these things, you know? So, that's not good. Yeah, I don't know. So, that just really bugged me too. And another thing, a third thing, and this was, like, my main problem with this whole book. The normalization of cheating is so problematic in this book. And here's why it pisses me off. We are introduced to Noah, right? He's her boyfriend from the beginning of the book. And she cheats on him about 70 pages in with Hardin and doesn't even think about him until after she's already done it. Okay, that's not great. So you think that she would stop, right? You think that she would realize her mistake and maybe talk to Noah about it or apologize to him or say, Hardin, we can't see each other anymore because I have a boyfriend, right? No. She still messes around with Hardin for the whole rest of the book. And she even goes to Hardin's house when her boyfriend visits her and takes his car and stays at Hardin's house the rest of the night and just ignores her boyfriend. What is that? Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding? And no one questions her about that. Okay, well, Landon, I guess, a little bit does. The one time he caught Hardin and Tessa, making out or whatever. And that's fine, whatever. But the fact that no one questions it or no one talks to her about it and is like, yo, this is messed up, don't do that, besides Landon that one time, is so weird. I just don't understand. And the fact that she breaks up with him while she's arguing with Hardin and saying oh, you don't want a relationship, blah blah blah, and all this stuff. And this, I think this was after the fact that she cheated, and then he found out, and then they had a little whatever fight or whatever, and then he decides to take her back because he is a nice guy. And she just fucking keeps going with Hardin, even though she's back with Noah, doesn't even give Noah a second thought about it. What the hell? I just don't understand. It's just so messed up. And no one talks to her about that and is like, yo, that is messed up. Why are you doing this? I don't know. It's just so weird. And it kind of makes me sad for Noah, too, because he obviously cares about her and loves her and took her back even though she cheated on him a bunch of times. And then he gets broken up with in the worst way. Well, Tessa and Hardin are fighting right in front of him about how they want to be in a relationship, and then she just tells him to leave. What the hell is that about? What? I just don't understand. It makes no sense. It's just the most messed up thing ever. That's probably the worst way to break up with someone, honestly. God. That would be the worst thing. I don't know. And I feel bad for Noah because he's such a nice guy, you know? And another thing that I really hate is that they try to justify cheating by her saying, oh, well, Noah never wants to kiss me in public. Noah doesn't make me feel the way that Hardin makes me feel. Noah never tries to have sex with me. And Noah's nice and all, but he doesn't make me feel the way that I feel when I'm with Hardin. And he tells on my mom too much about everything I'm doing. And it's okay, I'll give you that, Tessa. I'll give you that. That sucks. and that would really suck in real life. But he didn't do anything bad to her besides that, and I don't even think that's a bad thing. It's just someone looking out for you, you know? And from what we see, she fucking needs it. Okay. And, I don't know. I just feel like he was treated so poorly in this book, and he just let it happen and just, like, forgave her after all that. And it's like, good on you, Noah. Like, I would have cut that bitch out of my life. But he just, like, he called her later on to, like, warn her that her mom was gonna come visit her and everything, and just insane. I don't even know. So, yeah, that really irked me. Another thing that really irked me was the slut shaming and the jealousy issues from both Hardin and Tessa. Tessa thinks that every girl who dresses kind of provocatively and wears makeup and has tattoos and has bright colored hair is a slut, is a skank, is a whore, you know? And it's just like, girl, what century are you living in? Is this 1950? Like, no. This is supposed to be taking place in 2014, I think. I don't remember. And it's just like, what even? I don't even know, like, what she is thinking, but it's just so annoying. It's like the whole thing of she's not like other girls trope, and any girl who's not like her is a slut, is a whore, is a bad person, you know, just because they have tattoos or colored hair or they wear makeup or they dress kind of more provocatively than she would, okay? And it's so hypocritical too, because later on in the book she completely does a 180 and stops wearing provocative clothes. She stops wearing provocative clothes and she starts wearing like sexier things and things that like show off her figure more, and she starts wearing makeup, and she like buys new lingerie and stuff, and all this stuff. And it's like, girl, you were just complaining how girls that dress like that and do things like that are sluts and whores, but when you do it, it's okay? What? Like, I don't understand. And it's like, it's so funny because whenever she sees Molly, she's like, oh, I hate Molly. She's such a bitch. She's such a whore. She's such a slut. Just because she had a past with Hardin. And anytime Molly comes near Hardin, she's like, bitch, stay away from my man. Like, you know? And she has to, like, prove that she's, like, better than Molly. It's like, shut up. Like, Molly is just Molly. Like, who cares? Like, ignore her, you know? She's irrelevant to your life. Like, she's just there and she's doing her thing. Who cares? Like, I don't know. That just really pissed me off. And it's like, I'm not defending Molly in any way because she is not a good person. She's not a good character. But then again, she could have been a good character if she had any development besides the fact that she was supposed to be a conflict between Hardin and Tessa because Hardin and Molly used to mess around and Tessa's insecure about it. And it's so annoying. And it's like that with Steph too. And the thing is that Steph, like, didn't even really have a relationship with him. Like, they had like one fling like years ago, and she's like, oh, I can't believe Steph did that. Like, girl, what? And it's just so annoying because literally anytime Harden is around another girl, like, Tessa's like, ugh, why is he around her? Like, what a slut, what a whore. Like, it's so annoying. And then when Tessa is around any other guy, it's like the same thing. Like, Harden's like, ugh, I want to kill that guy. All this shit. It's like, this is not healthy. Obviously. It is very toxic. And if you are that jealous in a relationship, it's like, girl, you need to stop. And it's kind of funny because before I read the end of the book, there was like the couple chapters where she goes out on a date with Zane. Zane. I kind of read along with Wattpad while I read the other book. Zed, where she goes out with Zed, and they go on a couple dates or whatever, and they like kiss and all this stuff, and then she just kind of blows him off, and that's never mentioned again. Like, and it just shows you how shitty of a person Tessa is, that she just wouldn't even like talk to him and be like, yo, like, I don't really like you that way or anything. And I mean, Zed is not that great of a person either, because he was also involved in the bet. So I guess it's understandable, but that was just really weird to me. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. And yeah, and it's just so toxic. Like, I don't know. They're so toxic because whenever one or the other is talking to anyone of the opposite sex, it's like, oh, they're disgusting. Like, they're such a whore. They're a horrible person. Like, I want to kill him. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. And that is not good at all. That is not a healthy relationship. And yeah, so that was just not great. And what else do I want to say? The side characters were okay. Like, they were just there to like move the plot along, but they were also barely in it, and that was kind of weird. So I kind of wish that maybe they would have like incorporated some of them more, you know. But whatever, it's not really important. I don't like the fact that Steph knew the whole time about the bet and did not tell Tessa, even when it seemed like they were becoming friends and she had multiple opportunities to. I thought that was really messed up. But then again, we didn't see any other character development from Steph, so we don't know if she's a good person, if she's a good friend, you know, because she is friends with Molly, and Molly, like, didn't even care about the bet. Like, she thought it was funny, and that is very shitty. So, I don't know, and it just kind of made me sad that she didn't have any real friends. Well, I guess besides Landon, but Landon wasn't really in it that much after like the first half. So yeah, that's kind of why I wish that they would have had Tessa like have at least a couple friends from like her old life, like before she came to college, besides just Noah. I thought that was really weird that she had no other friends from from her high school days. That was kind of unrealistic. But that's irrelevant. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really like the fact that it just seemed like she was very isolated from everything. Like, she didn't really have anyone good in her life. Like, her mom was not good. Oh, God. I could talk about Tessa's mom forever. But that's irrelevant. Her mom was not a nice person. She didn't have any real friends. And the only person she seemed to have was Hardin. And Hardin was not the best person for her, obviously. And I don't know. I wish there was some type of contrast. Like, if there was one person that was like, hey, like, your relationship with Hardin seems very, very, very toxic. Like, you might want to rethink that. And no one ever really said anything to her. Like, they were just kind of like, oh, be careful. Like, oh, just be careful around Hardin. It's like, what the fuck? Like, why would you not just tell her, you know? So that was kind of sad. And another thing, her mother, which I have now learned her name is Carol. I did not know her name was Carol because I don't remember it ever being mentioned in the book, but maybe it was. I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing it though. She was the worst. And of course she was the worst because she was basically the only villain from Tessa's life, you know? Like, there were some from Hardin's life, but not really from Tessa's. And I was actually thinking about this while I was reading this, and I was like, they really should have made Noah like a villain for Tessa, like a villain in Tessa's life. Like, if her ex-boyfriend like started like being psycho and like tried to beat up Hardin or something, I don't know, like, it would have been such a better book than all these side characters just being involved and like Hardin fighting Zed and all this stuff. And it's like, who cares? Like, you know, because Zed wasn't really in it that much. And I mean, it did make sense for the Dare plot, but it would have been way more interesting if it was like Noah, like, fighting to get Tessa back or something, and then Hardin ends up beating up Noah or something. That would have been really good. I don't know. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, her mom. Ooh, buddy. Her mom was something else. Let me tell you. Her mom was so ridiculously over the top. Like, I don't think I've ever read another book where the mother was like that. Like, I don't even know. Like, it felt like she could be like a parent like from like a Riverdale or something, because a lot of the parents in Riverdale kind of suck too. Like, it was basically like, if you watch Riverdale, like, there's Cheryl's mom is Penelope, and she's literally the worst. Like, she's like a fucking evil ass witch. And it literally felt like Tessa's mom was kind of like that. She was just so cartoonishly over the top and exaggerated, and just like Disney villain evil. Like, it was just so ridiculous. And I understand that they needed to have some type of, like, conflict, like, for Tessa, you know? But it would have been so much better if it was her ex, Noah, and Hardin, instead of, like, her mother, because that's just, like, so overdone. Like, we get it. Like, parents don't approve of their children's, like, partners sometimes. Whatever. Who cares? That's old. And her mom was just so ridiculous. Like, she was so controlling and so manipulative of Tessa and just ridiculous. And it's like, I mean, I understand that that's why Tessa was the way she was at the beginning, but it would have been interesting if she just had, like, a normal mom, and how she would have been if she just had, like, a normal mom that was nice and loving and supportive and, like, wasn't trying to control everything she did. Because then we could have seen who Tessa actually was, instead of this, like, fake version that she used to be just to please her mom, you know? And, sorry, I have to plug my computer in. What was I saying? Oh yeah, about Tessa's mom. And I don't know, I just think that it would have been so much better if her mom was just not such an evil bitch. Like, I'm not saying she has to be perfect, because it's not realistic. Like, sometimes moms aren't perfectly nice, and I guess it was a nice contrast because of what was her name? Karen? I think it was Hardin's stepmom or something. Yeah. So that was nice to see. But it was kind of sad, because it just makes you realize, like, how sad of a life Tessa actually has. That she has no one in her life, like, that loves her, except for apparently Hardin. Like, and I'm not saying her mom doesn't, because maybe she does, but the way that she acted was just so horrible. And it's like, if you really loved your child, like, you wouldn't treat them like shit, you know? And I don't know. I just thought that that was so ridiculous. And yeah, and it makes me sad, because Tessa had, like, no one in her actual life besides Hardin, and Hardin was not the best for her, you know? Turned out to be the worst thing in her life. And that's really sad. I guess it would have been interesting to see Tessa's dynamic with her dad, and how that comes into play, besides the fact that he was just an alcoholic and left them. Like, I don't know. That would have been an interesting thing to see. And it would, and I wonder if, like, the dynamic would have been different between her and him from her and her mother. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't read the sequels. I've only read the first one, so I don't know if she ever does meet with him in the book or anything, but we'll see. I don't know if I'll end up reading sequels, but who knows, maybe. Um, what else? There's definitely something else I want to talk about. Just some little things. Let's see. The fact that Tessa had no friends. The fact that she could just buy a car, like all willy-nilly. Um, the fact that she just got an internship and it was a paid one, and she just got it because Hardin's dad got it for her. Like, okay, girl. The fact that when they got the apartment, they didn't have to have like anyone to co-sign for them because Tessa is 18 and I don't remember how old Hardin is. I think he's supposed to be a little bit older than her, right? Because she's a freshman and he's supposed to be like a junior, I think. Is that what it was? I really don't remember. Did they ever mention it? I don't remember. It was probably in the beginning of the book, and I read the beginning of the book like a couple days ago, so I don't remember. But yeah, I thought that was really weird that they could just get an apartment and not have like anyone to co-sign because she's 18 and she has no credit. Also, the car thing, like when she needs someone to co-sign for a car too. I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird. But that's just me. Oh, and another thing is when she moved out of her dorm, and like it was just easy as pie. Like, like I went to college and I stayed in a dorm for 2 years, and the way that my college worked was that you stayed in a dorm for both semesters, which is a full year. And this was only her first semester of her freshman year. And she like didn't have to sign any paperwork or like fight to get out of it or anything, or like talk to the admissions like the room and board place or anything. Like that was kind of weird to me. She didn't have to give her key over. Like what? Like did she get? Oh, I don't know. Did she get a deposit? I don't remember. And the fact that they called her mom about the final payment, it was just kind of weird because I was like, since when do you like pay for a dorm and like payments? Like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it's just because of my university. Like, you had to pay it like full out, like the beginning, or I think it was the beginning of the semester or something. I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird. And if they called her mom, I don't know. That was kind of weird. What else? Oh yeah, the fact that we don't really know anything about Hardin's job besides that he works at some like publishing house and makes a lot of money. But it's like we never see him going there. We never see him working. We never see like I don't know. We never see him go to school after she gets her internship. Girl, what the fuck? And also, does she go back to school? Because like the last half of the book was literally just her going to her internship. And I think they did mention somewhere that she would go to her internship like 4 days a week or something. And then go to class like the other day. Or was it like she would go for the week and then the next week she would go to class? I don't really remember that part. But Oh, and it's very convenient that her internship also was um, counted for college credit. That was very, very convenient. And I don't know, that seems kind of weird to me, but whatever. Also, did she declare a major already? Like, you're only in your freshman year and you're only in your first semester. So, like, what? And also, this is just like a small thing, but throughout the whole book, never once does she mention having a period. Never once. And this whole time, her and Hardin are doing like a shit ton of sexual stuff. So it's like, are you doing all this sexual stuff when you're on your period? Like, you're nasty, gross. And that's just a small thing though. And another thing is the fact that they were messing around for 3 months, right? And so they were messing around for 3 months, but they were never really like official until like towards the end of the book. So around like 2 months in, they were finally official when like she was like, am I your girlfriend? And they say they love each other and everything and whatever. And so I thought that was kind of weird. But whatever. Yeah, and it's just little things like that, that just kind of piss me off. But I mean, it's not like a big hold up or anything. So I'm trying to think of what else that I didn't like. I don't know. Just the fact that everything seemed to go perfectly for Tessa and she didn't even have to try for the most part. Like, she got her internship because Hardin's father got it for her. Like, she got the apartment because Hardin paid for it. And because he, like, found it for them. And I don't know, just like, she just had it so easily. And the fact that the internship was paid and everything, like, girl, she was just too lucky. And sometimes, like, that just kind of annoyed me because it's like, at least give her a challenge or something. Like, she can't be a straight A student and get an internship that pays and, like, get a car and get a nice apartment and all this stuff. Like, at least make something hard for her, At least make her fail a class or something. Like, she was just so perfect and it was so irritating. Like, why does she have to be so perfect? I don't understand. And I don't know. That's more of a minuscule thing, but it was still something. There was something else I had to say, but I don't remember. The sex scenes were very weird. They were very repetitive. Like, if you read one sex scene, you read them all. Like, she could have cut like half of those out and it wouldn't have even mattered. Same with their fight scenes. Like, there would be one fight and it would be like, oh, why were you with Molly? And then Hardin would be like, oh, why do you care so much about stupid shit? And why do you always want to know everything about my life? Just leave me the fuck alone, blah, blah, blah. And it would go on and on like that. And they'd fight 1 second and then make up the next second. And fight the next second and then make up the next second. It's like, oh my god. Like, my head was spinning. Okay? Like, it was exhausting to just listen to them bicker about nothing. Nothing for 90% of this. Like, stupid things that shouldn't have even been a fight. And if it was a fight, it was because of something the other one did, and they either did it on purpose or they were just stupid and they did it accidentally and got the other one mad. And that was really annoying. Or it was mostly because Hardin would get mad over nothing. Like, like literally, Tessa could be like, the sky is blue, and Hardin would be like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? The sky is green. How dare you? Like literally, their arguments were so unimportant. Like, for most of this book. And it was literally so annoying because Tessa would be like, why are you so mean? Like, Tessa would be like, why are you so mean? And why are you being so rude to me? And then Hardin would be like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I'm not rude to you, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then she'd be like, yeah, you are. You are so mean, and I don't know why you hate me. And then he'd be like, no, I don't hate you. I never liked you. All this shit. And then he would, like, say stuff to manipulate her all the time. And he would say stuff like the first time he, like, said he loved her in front of his friends or whatever. And then he would be like, no, I really mean it. I love you. And then she'd be like, fuck you. Like, you're lying. You know? And I don't know. It's just so annoying. Like, I'm so just confused 90% of the time, because I was like, do you hate him or do you love him? Like, make up your mind. You cannot hate someone and love them at the same time. That is not healthy. That is not how a normal relationship should be between two young adults. And it was just so exhausting. And it's like, I kind of understand why she did it that way, because it makes sense in the end because of the bet. But I really wish that she could have cut most of those fight scenes out, because it was so much fighting, and it was just the same stupid, pointless argument over and over and over again. And literally, she could have cut like 90% of that out, and the book would have been much shorter. Like, oh god, I just don't know. And another thing that I want to talk about is the bet. The bet was very unexpected for me. I mean, I don't really know what I was expecting, but I was definitely expecting like a huge plot twist, obviously. Because okay, let me give you a little background. I read the book on Audible, okay? Because I like to read books on audiobook so that it like can keep me on track. And but I also like to read along to like a physical copy, but I did not have a physical copy of this book. But luckily it was on Wattpad. So I went on Wattpad and oh god, it was rough on Wattpad. But that's for another day. So I read the book on Wattpad while I was listening to it, and thank God she did change a lot. But there was like some things that she didn't change that I wish she would have. But I'll talk about that in a minute. What was I talking about before that? Oh, the bet. Yeah, the bet was disgusting and horrific. And if that happened in real life, oh my god, I would have punched him right in the face. Like, I would have probably, like, punched everyone in that group right in the face. Because that is horrific and terrifying. And if that happened to me, I don't know how I would have responded. Definitely would not ever forgive the person for doing that. And definitely would have a lot of trust issues and a lot of walls built up after that, which I haven't read the other book, so I don't know if Tessa does, but I heard that they end up getting together, which of course they do, because would it be a YA book without them getting together? No, it wouldn't. So yeah, that was really gross. Like, can you just imagine if someone you know told you that this happened to them, that their boyfriend just dated them because of a bet and just slept with them because of a bet and they were paid to, like, and kept like your dirty sheets that you like did it on and kept the condom that they use and stuff. Like, what the fuck? Like, that is actually disgusting. Like, what the fuck kind of a person would agree to do that? And it's just funny to me because Hardin was like, I didn't know you back then, and it was just fun, and it was just a game, and it was a challenge, and it's like, is that supposed to make us feel like it's okay that you did it? Like, and is it supposed to make us feel like it's okay because he has a bad past or a tragic childhood or whatever? And it's like, a lot of people have bad pasts or tragic things happen to them, and they don't do shitty ass stuff like that. So it does not excuse your disgusting behavior, Hardin. Like, it just does not excuse it. And it's like, there are serious moments in this book that seriously make me think that Hardin is a sociopath. Like that in particular, and just like a bunch of other stuff, like the fact that he gets so jealous of anything. Like, if a guy even talks to Tessa, he's like, why the fuck were you flirting with him? Like, all this shit. And it's like, that is so abusive and that is so manipulative and that is just like disgusting. And I don't even understand. But I think the main thing is the fact that he would think that of this bet in the first place because he was the one who thought of it. And that is the most disgusting thing to me. So, yeah, I don't fucking know. Like, I just don't even know. Like, what sane person would think of to do a bet like that in the first place? Like, you have to be really fucked up to think of something like that. I can't even. I don't even know. And the fact that his friends all agreed to do it and all thought it was funny and like thought it was a joke, like, are you okay? Like, it's just it's so crazy that not even one person was like, yo, this is kind of fucked up. Like, you shouldn't do this, you know? Or that no one even tried to tell Tessa about any of this the whole time. Like, that Steph didn't try to tell her, and she was her roommate, and they were becoming friends. What the hell? Like, at least Zed kind of felt bad about it, and, like, fought Harry about it and stuff a couple times, and just kind of, like, kept his distance from Tessa. What? Just, I don't even understand. Like, I just don't even know. Like, these people are just so horrible. Like, God, I would not want to have friends like that. Like, if I ever had friends like that, I would just have the worst trust issues in the world, and I would never, like, I would never be friends with anyone ever again. Like, that is just so horrific. Like, ugh. And the fact that her mom was right. God, like, that must really suck for her. Like, ugh. Can you imagine, like, just having a mom that horrible and then just realizing that she was so right the whole time? Like, that would just be the worst, because you never want to admit that your parents are right if they're a shitty person. So, yeah, I just, the whole bet was just disgusting. And there was something else that I wanted to talk about, but I fucking forgot. Oh yeah, just the writing was very weird. A lot of the same language was used. It wasn't very, like, pleasing to read, you know, like, not in that way, but, like, the way that Anna Todd describes stuff isn't, like, very linguistically advanced or anything, or, like, just very interesting to read. Like, it's just kind of bland and basic writing that you do, like, in high school. Like, I used to write little short stories, and I kind of wrote the same way, but that was when I was in high school. So, but then again, this girl got, like, what, 4 books published or something, and now she has a movie, so I shouldn't even be shit-talking her. And it's no hate to Anna Todd. Like, good for her, you know? Like, she wrote a fucking One Direction fanfiction, and it turned into books and now a movie. Like, good for you, girl. You go, girl. But I don't know. There were some things where I was like, why would your editor not, like, say, hey, you might want to change this? Like, for example, a lot of the times when they were, like, gonna do it, basically, she would use this term, and it would be like, I love when he does the gentle assault against my womanhood or something. I don't know. That's not, like, a direct quote or anything, but it would just be used a lot, like gentle assault, or, like, assault to describe, like sex stuff, like any type of sexual touching or anything like that. And I was very uncomfortable reading that. I was like, ugh, I don't like that it's like that the word assault is used here. Like, it does not feel okay. Like, it does not feel right. And it just really did not sit with me. But I don't know. It was what it was. But I just thought that was kind of weird. I was like, why wouldn't your editor like say like, hey, maybe don't use this word, you know, like, because it is 2019 and when was this published? I think it was published like 2014, 2015. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I'm just saying that in this day and age, use any type of language that might offend someone in any way, it's not good. And the word assault is very sensitive and triggering to a lot of people. But, I mean, that's just my opinion. Maybe some people don't think that way, but I think that way. Because the word assault is used most of the time for like a violent crime, like a sexual assault, you know? Like, that's not a good thing. But I digress. I guess there were just like little things that I would have changed, but then again, I am not an editor, I'm not a writer, I am not a publishing house at all, obviously, but there were definitely some questionable language in this book, and very interesting writing, to say the least. It's not like the best piece of literature I've ever read in my life. Like, it's not like a classic, like, literature masterpiece or anything. But, I mean, it's fine. One thing I did want to point out, though, was that it's kind of like a less intense, a very, 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 very less intense version of 50 Shades of Grey. And I'm probably not the only one to say this about this book, but that's just what I thought. Like, when I first even heard of it, I was like, oh, like, is this just like a teenager version of like 50 Shades of Grey? And it kind of is. But I would say that it is less intense and less sexually, like, advanced as 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know if that was the right word to use, but sexually aggressive, I guess I should say. That's a better word to use. But yeah, it was very reminiscent of 50 Shades. Because Hardin and what the fuck is the guy's name? Christian Grey. I haven't read that book, so I don't really know anything about it. Hardin and Christian Grey are very similar characters in the fact that they are very verbally abusive and manipulative towards their respective partners, and just very aggressive in general, and violent men. And yeah, I guess I don't really know what the appeal is to people for reading books with love interests like this, because to me it's just kind of creepy and gross. And maybe it's different if like you like stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying that After is anyway the same as 50 Shades of Grey in the terms of the sex or anything. Like, obviously there's no BDSM or whatever. Is that the right term? I don't know. Whatever. So, yeah, but it's just definitely not a healthy relationship between people. So, yeah, it was just, that's just another thing that I noticed. And I don't know, maybe just because I've never really thought that that type of person was appealing at all. Because I would rather read about a nice guy who treats a girl well than someone who treats her like garbage. Sorry. And another thing is that these girls just seem to have no self-respect for themselves. Like, Tessa and Anastasia in 50 Shades of Grey just seem to have no self-respect and are very naive, and they just seem very lost and kind of pathetic, and it's really sad. And I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that are like that, because obviously there are, but I don't know, it's just very sad to me, because I'm not like that at all, and I feel like maybe like 90% of the population doesn't really act like that. Like, I don't know. At least I haven't really met anyone in real life that acts the way that they do, but I don't know everyone in the world, so who can really say? But yeah, I don't know. That was just something else that I noticed too. And I don't know. There is just a lot to pack here. And I'm trying to think about what else I could say. I've pretty much covered everything, I think. Okay, I do have one thing to say. There were so many unnecessary scenes. Like, meeting, like, random, like, guys that Hardin knows, like, was so unnecessary. Like, who was Jace? Like, he just came in and halfway through the book, and, like, we're supposed to care about him now, and we're supposed to be like, oh, he's, like, the bad guy, when, like, he doesn't really do anything besides, like, bet money for the bet. And it's like, okay, where the hell was he, like, the first half of the book? Like, why are we just meeting him now? I don't understand. And why wasn't he at the party where Hardin supposedly suggested this game of, like, trying to bet to see who can like, make her lose her virginity to them? Like, he wasn't even there for that, so that didn't make any sense. But yeah, I just thought that was really weird. And then the fact that Hardin, like, beat up Dan, and then Jace said something like, oh, it was a long time coming, like, he deserved it or something, and it was like, what the fuck was that about? Like, we never see Dan again after that scene, so what the hell does that even mean? I don't know, Jace, I feel like Jace was just so unnecessary. Like, they could have gave that role to, like, Nate, or, like, Logan, or Zed or something. But they gave it to Jace, and he was so unnecessary. But yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of unnecessary stuff like that. And yeah, so it just kind of annoyed me with unnecessary characters being introduced like halfway through that were very unimportant to the plot, and they were either only in like one scene and then never saw again, or they were introduced and they weren't even that important. But then again, I haven't read any of the sequels, so I don't know if any of these characters are important in any of the sequels. So yeah, I think that's basically all I have to say for now. So yeah, I can't think of anything else that I haven't talked about, but might think of something else later, because it is very late right now. I really should go to sleep. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on the book after the first one. And I hope that you enjoyed this little review / rant type of thing. And if you did, maybe comment down below, or give this video a like, or just let me know if you want me to read any other books that are popular, that are kind of problematic, or very popular. I don't know. So yeah, and overall, I think that I would rate after a solid like 6 out of a 10, or maybe like a 7, because there were some things that I did enjoy about it. Like, the story wasn't very like wow amazing, but it was very interesting to keep reading and see like what was going to happen. And I did find myself like hooked to the story once I was reading it. Like, I couldn't stop reading it once I was reading it, even though I knew that the writing was questionable. The characters were questionable. The story was flat. There was a lot of problematic elements, but I couldn't stop reading. And so yeah, I think that it was an okay book. For the enjoyment factor that I got out of it, in the fact that like it was trash, but it was like kind of a guilty pleasure, you know? It's kind of like when people watch like reality TV shows. Like, they're not good. Like, they're obviously kind of garbage, but you watch them anyways because they're kind of entertaining, you know? So that's kind of how I felt about this book. So yeah. But anyways, I hope that you liked this video, And if you did, give me a thumbs up, or give me a comment, or anything like that. And thank you for watching, and I will see you next time, maybe. And yeah, so peace out. I don't know what that was. I don't know what to say. See you next time. Ew. Okay. Bye.